Hey guys, welcome back. This is Tom Macdonald, Sheeple. Like and subscribe, comment down below, and yeah, hit us up. Here we go.
Humans been controlled since the day that they were civilized. The truth has been so heavily politicized. If you don't know who's controlling you and killing all the little guys, find out who you're not allowed to criticize. Black folks who were never ever actual slaves, fighting with white folks who ain't actual Nazis. Controlled by rich folks who use the news to make hate, while elite folks control other political parties. It's a big lie, trying to make you pick sides, trying to make you burn the cities down and kill each other. They got sick minds, big lies, deep on the police so that there's big crime. To take away our freedom, to restore order, they let die. Play with people, turn men into women, make the counterculture mainstream to mix up the system. Change the pronouns, if gender is a spectrum, so is privilege. I know poor white folks and black celebrities with millions. They starve you with a lack of information and only give you facts through a branded corporation. Distort your worldview with an algorithm that changes based on propaganda curated for your engagement. We can't be
It's funny. Maybe I should have started deliver this message in a rap form about 30 years ago. It's great. Yeah, it's great. You know, I mean, if people actually, I hope that they just don't like the rhythm and all. I mean, I hope they like the rhythm and all. But if they listen to the words that he's saying, it's absolutely accurate, and it makes clear sense. It makes clear sense. You can't even argue it, and because it's just true.
Yeah,
And,
yeah, it's absolute true. At the philosophical core level, whether you're left or you're right, you cannot argue that this is absolutely true what he's saying.
Yeah, you know, and it's interesting because, you know, we'll say the Republicans or the right argues on their side their way. It's the Democrats or the left. And you can't trust any of them. And then the Democrats on the left say, oh, well, you can't trust any of the Republicans. And whoever's in power when they get elected, if they take over, then it was, oh, look at these guys did. We couldn't fix this because of what they did. Look what they did. And but reelect us again, you know, and we'll do better. And it's always the same. And if you listen to what they say and you believe what either party says, is for the most part, you're probably not going to vote for very many of them at all.
Right.
And because there's a lot of lying going on.
Yeah. You know, and that's one thing I will say, and I've said it before, but if he was to do this in rock, it would not be as effective. You can't get as many words through.
Right. He's speaking it.
Yeah.
You know? And it's got the rhythm and stuff, which is cool. You know, but he's saying it.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just putting it right out there, and he's smart enough to see that it's not just one side doing it. You know, and each has their areas. And I don't know. I'm a results based guy, and I like to see, okay, where are we at? Who's handling things? Are we better or worse off? And who's responsible for that? And is there someone responsible? And I want to hold those responsible for making things worse, and congratulate and thank those who are making things better.
Right. Big shout out to the Hangover gang. All right, let's get to it.
Curated for your engagement. We can't be free, can't have no peace till we're on the same team, but y'all are sheep. Blue to screens just part of the machine. Y'all are sheep. What do y'all believe? Oh, my sheep. Nothing's what it seems.
Before we get going into that next verse, what do you think about the big eye watching?
I think it's pretty cool. I gotta ask you, what was that sticking out of his nostril? Is that almost like the pull start for a lawnmower?
Well,
or
that I'm telling you right now, I'm guessing that is a piece of very small PVC pipe that he taped. I think it was supposed to be, you know, like whole you're piped, you know, into the system, you know, Android, like you're not real, but or not you're connected to the system, right? So that pipe is into the system. That eye kind of reminds me of the all-seeing eye, or like, you know, on on our
Dollar
money,
bill.
the dollar bill, the government Big Brother.
Oh, what don't they watch?
Right. And that's what I think.
Watch?
I think that's what that symbolization was. Right.
What Snowden do? Right. Why did the government really want to kill him? Why did he have to go to Russia of all places to go hide? Snowden is because he told their dirty secrets that they were spying on who? Russia? China?
Right.
North Korea? No, us.
Right.
Us.
Yeah.
That's why he had to run and hide. And you know, I'll say Tom's right on this on this. He could run a campaign on this.
All right, here we go.
Nothing's what it seems. Hollywood been writing your brain, controlling your mouth. You say lit, fleet, bet, cap. They trying to dumb you down. They endorse whatever narrative is popular to shout and use minorities in movies for diversity clout. Two sides on the spectrum, but ain't none of them honest. Took the red pill and the blue pill, spit them both in the garbage. Being woke used to mean you understood you're a target, and now it's having two good legs and never taking a step forward. If you agree, it's free speech. Disagree, it's hate speech. Erase it if it came from anywhere except the mainstream. Trump supporters labeled as the racist, but they can't be. Lincoln was Republican, and that's who ended slavery. Science been politicized, it's easy to see. A mask became a symbol of which side you believe. But you'll never cure a sickness till you cure the greed, because the problem with our natural immunity is it's free. Society is broken, want you locked inside a cubicle, addicted to pornography, liquor, and pharmaceuticals. Tell you that you're fat and poor and you were never beautiful, then tweet how much they love you when they hear about your funeral.
Wow. I did notice the big guy with the tank top on there, he had an orange head when he was talking about Trump. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was Tom.
Was that Tom?
Yeah, that's still Tom. Yeah, that's one of his personalities.
that was pretty funny. And but he's right. You know, pushing pharmaceuticals and pushing all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And until if America could understand and listen to what he's saying, and then just think about it, and then analyze it in their life and say, wait a minute, is this guy what he's saying true or not? And forget the parties and just say, okay, all right, yeah, actually he's right. He's right. So now what do I as an individual do about it? How do I deal with this?
Right.
And what action can I take to straighten this out? And the first action is, which Tom's saying about in some of his other videos, that you can fight, is in your own life.
Yeah.
And it's how you're going to deal with others and deal with yourself, your own problems, and address those. And then Jesus said it right. You can take the, before you criticize the other guy, take the tree out of your own eye, and don't worry about the speck in his until you get that beam out of your own eye, and then you can see clearly to help your brother get that speck out of his eye. It says not to notice that they have a speck in their eye and not to not help them. I just make sure that you're not in worse shape than they are, and because you might help them into more trouble. And I think Tom's pretty clear on this, is that where the problem is, and and that we fall for it, and then we somehow we align with it, and that's what amazes me, I think, is why do we even tolerate it?
Right.
What puts us in a position in our personal mindset to tolerate what the government puts us through their lies, politicians and companies, some companies, and as well. Why do we even put up with it?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if there's going to be a great awakening. I am not 100% sure on that. I do feel like more and more people are becoming attuned to what the government is doing and what it's always done. And it's not like this is a new thing. This is not a new thing. It's, you can go back to the 40s, the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. The government's always been doing stuff. I think that people are becoming more aware. I just think that there isn't enough community yet within the people to feel comfortable enough to stand hard enough against something, without feeling alone.
Well, and the thing is, they're not alone. Tom's not alone.
Right.
And,
Well, that's what is important with things like the Hangover Gang and what we're doing and what other people like Crowder and Tim Pool and the Daily Wire and a lot of people. I know a lot of these are right wing, more like, especially with the news people. But the more that those exist, the more that the people that are going and pressing against the government, pressing against the institutions, they won't feel alone, which is good. Right? It's good that, people like Tom using a medium that he's got on a platform that he's got, saying what he does, because this is going to perpetuate people that feel like, oh, I'm not alone in this, because they may be in an enclave where, they could be in California listening to Tom being like, I feel like I'm all alone, but then, you feel like you end up having a group or a community that you align with.
Well, part of his song, Mac, is that they singing about the constant division, the race and economics and such. So, and that's what the purpose of that division is. That's why they divide us into these small groups, and they play to each group. The politicians do, is because they can keep us divided. And when we realize that, wow, there's a lot more of us than there are of them. They're supposed to be public servants, and yet they're passing laws that we're having to be subjected to, and that are persecuting us. Is
right?
Who the hell are you?
Right.
And in fact, that's a Who song, and from the 60s, 70s is in the 70s is Who Are You? And the new boss is the same as the old boss. Is where. When does we'll say America, since we're Americans, when do we wake up as a people and just say, hey, you know what, this nonsense got to stop? I was thinking COVID would wake up a lot of people in the handling of that, and I think it probably did, but I think it bolstered a lot of people who already have a position, and maybe some woke up. I would hope so, and but people don't really react until it really strikes home.
Yeah.
If it's on their neighbor, I feel sorry for Joe.
Right.
It's too bad whatever happened to him. But when it hits them, is then what Reagan say about it, right? About a recession is when your neighbor loses his job. A depression is when you lose yours.
Right.
And so it's we've just got to wake up as a people and realize that we're not enemies. I mean, if you want to take the African American community, they've been pounded from within and from outside as well. That the white people hate them or whatever it happens to be, or they're the reason for their problems and blah blah blah, which is not true. And but I mean, there's always somebody who's going to hate somebody. But in the general terms, it's not true at all. Is we're all people, and we all want the same things for our families, and we need to work together to be able to get them.
Yeah, and, it's fixing culture. And not an individual culture like black culture, white culture, but American culture. And he's the whole our country, and in each country to their own too. Because I know that we have a lot of viewers from Canada, from Australia, from Europe.
Well, they learned a lot during COVID.
Yeah, Australia had it. They had it real hard.
Yeah. I thought all the Nazis went to frickin' Argentina after World War II. Sounds like some of them went up into the government in Australia.
Yeah, that was pretty wild. But all right, let's roll into this.
When they hear about your funeral, we can't be free, can't have no peace till we're on the same team. But y'all are sheep. Blue to screens just part of the machine. Y'all are sheep. What do y'all believe? My sheep. Nothing's what it seems. If they can't convince you, they confuse you. They want you dumb and dead. They divided you by race, religion, income, and sex. Made everybody right and left. The hatred got so intense. If the other side likes oxygen, you'll put a bag on your head. And the conspiracy theories labeled as misinformation is just a terrifying.
I have to stop that line. That line got me.
Which one?
If one side says that you like oxygen, the other side will put a bag on their head.
Yeah. Well, Well, that might solve some problems.
God. Oh my God. That was
Yeah.
good. All right, we'll continue.
That's good.
Buddy, right and left, the hatred got so intense. If the other side likes oxygen, you'll put a bag on your head. And the conspiracy theories labeled as misinformation is just a terrifying truth that scares the hell out the nation. The system treating
Facts.
you like trash and you got rifles to aim with. Just imagine how they'll treat you when your guns get confiscated. George Orwell, 1984 was his last lecture. George called them thought police, now we call them fact checkers. Government surveillance trying to catch you, they don't ask questions. Mass incarceration equals capital for cash investors. The system isn't broke, it's working fine. Oppressive and chaotic is how it was designed. They say if we ain't doing nothing wrong, there's nothing to hide. While their agenda and intelligence completely classified. They don't teach you rights in school, you never learn them at all. Cause they're easy to remove if you don't know what they are. The only people you can rule are the criminal ones. So they force you into corners till you're breaking the law. We can't be free.
We'll let it play out.
Can't have no peace till we're on the same team. But y'all are sheep. Blue the screen's just part of the machine. Y'all are sheep. What do y'all believe? Oh, my sheep. Nothing's what it seems.
I see it's taped to his face.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. He is absolutely right on. And and what do we believe?
Right.
And, you know, they say that he was talking about the government and mass incarceration, and that things are your speech is a problem, and because it scares them when you know.
Mm-hmm.
And what doesn't he touch on? Abortion, gun confiscation, religion, just personal freedom, and
Right.
and who's opposed to that?
Right.
Well, the government.
Yeah.
The government is. I talked to a gal, Michelle Fiore. She's I think she's a city councilwoman. She's running for, I think, mayor of Vegas. And she said that the government has been passing laws for years to protect themselves from the people they're supposed to represent.
Yeah.
And it's true. And obviously Tom sees it. And,
Yeah. And a little background on Tom. He's Canadian.
Wow.
He moved here, and I believe he's working on his citizenship.
Well, good for him.
Yeah.
Well, there might be somebody Biden will deport. Watch
Yeah.
out, Tom. Yeah. Watch out. Yeah. It's you know, and he made a really good point on there, is they can take your rights away if you don't know what they are.
Yeah.
Now, I'd like to ask everybody who's watching this: do you have a Constitution? Do you have a United States Constitution and a Declaration of Independence? You get it for nothing, and read it. Just read it. I mean, there's some of the stuff in there where it gets a little wordy, but it's a pretty easy read. Just read it and just think about what it says, and read the Bill of Rights, which is the first 10 amendments to the U.S. Constitution that were accepted before the Constitution was actually ratified. And do read that and see what makes sense to you, and then just ask yourself, which of these issues in here, let's say the first 10 amendments, the Bill of Rights, is the government not breaking? Which one of these things are they holding true to? And you can even read their oaths of office are in there. Are they upholding their oath of office?
Right.
And
Right.
because when they read through the Declaration of Independence, they're going to find that our government is more like the King of England, and we're more like the founding fathers.
Right.
Once you realize that, and that's what Tom sounds like, is his mindset as he understands that what's happening, that
Yeah.
we're being played. Yeah, good for him. I mean,
Yep.
it's even a Canadian can see it, for crying out loud.
Hey, maybe it's the reason he can see it is because he's coming from something that's even worse. You know, and he
Maybe.
comes here with the expectation, right? It's like a lot of the immigrants, though. The ones that come here, that fight to get here, to come from somewhere so, in other places that are obviously worse than even Canada, they come here and they have a very, very different understanding of what it means to be an American. And I think Americans have become complacent on what it means. And I think that people need the actual citizenry, the American citizens themselves, the ones that were born here, need to reconcile what does it mean, because when this is gone, unlike in World War II, there's nowhere else to go.
You know, first off, I say I think Tom understands a lot because he's a smart guy and he pays attention. And but the American people on the whole are invested in this country. You know, those who serve in the military and such certainly have invested in this country. They got some skin in the game, if you will. But most aren't vested in this country. They don't care, and then they hear all kinds of anti-America propaganda. You know, I've got a lot of problems with how our government handles things. I got a lot of problems with how the DOJ handles things. The president, Congress, and such in the courts. There's a whole lot of issues going on. The taxation, the way that it's handled in this country is just dishonest. But still, I love this country, as I know what it was designed to be, and that's spelled out in our Constitution and Declaration of Independence. Read those, and with that as your foundation, if we could just get back to that, there'd be really great hope for us as a nation to be able to pull through this. Because American people are vigilant. Those people are coming here as immigrants, as you were talking, because they know why they came here. They know what they were looking for and what they left. And those are going to be fighters. A lot of those fighters that they're going to stand up and say, hey, you know what? Don't do to this country what happened to the country I just left to get here.
Yeah, right.
And quit drilling holes in the bottom of the boat, we'll sink. And and I think that's part of Tom's warning as well. And I've heard it from a number of people who came from communist countries.
Yeah.
And Canada's only socialist. And close.
Yeah.
And so it's up to us. And matter of fact, is we've got an election coming up November 8th. And maybe take out that Constitution and read it before you vote, and see if who you're voting for supports that, because they're going to raise their right hand, take an oath to defend it and protect that Constitution. Ask them if they know what it is. What's that? Yeah, because we should.
Well, on that note, thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe. Comment down below. Talk to you guys later.